Ecclesiastes chapter number 4. On the program yesterday, I was dealing with Solomon's observation of life without the Lord, life filled with vanity, life lived for one's own purposes and own devices. And we saw the matter of oppressions. I considered all the oppressions that are done under the sun. And I pointed out that life is filled up with the matter of oppression. All of us have to face this. Some months ago now, as you're hearing this program, today as I'm recording it, this was back some months ago, and we were trying to get finished up here with our big remodel work that we've been involved in at the Bright Spot Hour for almost 2 years now, and I'm trying to get a final inspection. And a matter came up with the inspector. They kept talking about zoning. And when I think about zoning in the real estate term, I think about the zoning that governs the use of your property. My general contractor called down to the codes office. I called the codes office and spoke to the second in command down there. The director was not there. I would have spoken directly to the director. I know them, they know me. And I said, what is this zoning? What is meant by that? And no one could tell me. No one could tell my general contractor. Well, later on, I'm talking about the matter of oppression. Later on, the inspector came and was looking at the blueprints, and I said, explain to me this matter of zoning. What do you mean by that? I've been trying to find that out for days. And the lady, Madam Inspector, said that it's having the parking lot striped where the parking spaces are supposed to go in the parking lot. And I said, I've been trying to find that out for a week now, and no one has told me on the phone. And she had a very pleasant look on her face and failed me. And I said, now, madam, if someone had told me 2 weeks ago what that was and what was required, I would have had the parking lot striped, and I would have had the concrete stops in, and you could have come and passed me on that. But nobody would tell me that that's what that meant. And as a result of that now, there's got at least a 1 week delay, maybe a 2 week delay, in trying to get a final inspection and a CO. And she certainly did not look like she was upset at all that she was able to fail me for another time. Now, life is filled up with this matter of oppression. It's just all the time. There is one thing to go wrong, and if that one thing doesn't go wrong, then something else will go wrong. But I promise you, if you live in this world, there will be enough that will go wrong. So I returned and considered all the oppressions that are done under the sun, and behold, the tears of such as were oppressed, and they had no comforter. Now, I didn't cry about that thing. I had some pretty stout thoughts in my mind and heart, but I didn't cry about it. And the Lord knows all about it, and the Lord knows all that is transpired, and such as that. God is quite aware of all of that, because you and I that are born again have a comforter. But can you imagine getting jerked around like that? And they're jerking me around, I think, and they jerk a lot of people around. And those that have no comforter, that don't have the Lord to lean on, the Lord knew this morning when I came up here that I was going to get failed. And I didn't, but the Lord already knew that. And I'm trusting in the Lord and trusting in His goodness and grace. And on the side of their oppressors, there was power, but they had no comforter. On the side of their oppressors, there was power. And you and I are observing that in the United States and in the country we live in. Have you heard the terminology, the administrative state? The administrative state. The illustration I just gave you about the county inspector That's a part of the administrative state. Nobody elected them, and nobody elected their boss. And they set up a bureaucracy in the city, county, state, and in the federal government. And they have great power. I mean, they can really make life hard on you. They can make life hard on you if they desire to. And on the side of their oppressors, there was power, but they had no comforter. But this power, I mean, the power to make me spend money and extra money and have plans redrawn and on and on. They certainly do have a great deal of power, but they have force. They have strength. They have a power to fine if they have to. They have power to take money away from you if they have to. Now, because of this, Solomon despairs in the next verse where he says, because of this, wherefore, because of this, I praise the dead which are already dead more than the living which are yet alive. Now, I don't have a death wish, and I'm not preaching to anybody, I hope, by the radio today that does. But this morning I was wide awake at 3 a.m. And my mind, all the neurons in my mind were firing. I mean, I was instantly awake, and my mind running 100 miles an hour. I need to make this phone call. I need to make that phone call. I need to talk to this attorney. I have this inspection that I just mentioned to you is going to take place today. I need to call the real estate commission about this. I have this I need to do. I have that. I mean, all the neurons were all firing in rapid fire succession at 3 o'clock this morning. And, you know, my dad, and I love my dad and appreciate his memory, but my dad has been dead of almost 20 years. And since my dad has died, he has not had to worry about the oppressions of life. He hasn't had to worry about that. His soul and spirit is with the Lord in heaven. His body is out at the Woodlawn Cemetery, buried about 150 feet from my grandfather, Dr. Harold Seitler. And my grandfather has been dead, will soon be 30 years that my grandfather has been dead. And my grandfather has not been awakened in the middle of the night with his mind running. And I need to do this, and I need to visit this person, and I need to make this call, and I need to go check on that individual, and I need to do this, and I need to do that. He has not had any of those thoughts. He's with the Lord in heaven, as is my grandmother, and both of my dad's grandmother and dad, those grandparents are all with the Lord in heaven. And they've not had these thoughts. That's one of the reasons that we talk about our loved ones when they pass away, and we go by the grave and we say, rest in peace, R.I.P., rest in peace. I read in the book of the Revelation that the tribulation saints that will be executed by the Antichrist, and John the Beloved says they rest from their labors. They rest from their labors. If the rapture doesn't take place and I go the way of the grave, and I do hope that I can live a long time, and I hope I die of natural causes, and I hope I die a natural death. But the day I breathe my last breath, that'll close the book on me having to write checks to pay bills, having to be concerned about meeting appointments, having to be concerned about this being taken care of and that being taken care of. I will rest from my labors. So Solomon says in verse number 2, wherefore I praise the dead which are already dead more than the living which are yet alive. Because as long as you and I live, we are going to be faced with the oppressions of life. All the oppressions that are done under the sun. These oppressions of life are a reality, and there is no escape from them. As long as I'm alive, I'm going to have to deal with them. And let's say I lose my mind and I'm unaware of them, that doesn't mean they've gone away. It simply means that somebody else is going to have to take care of them for me. Then Solomon goes on in this matter of despair in verse 3, and he says, Yea, better is he than both they which hath not yet been, who hath not seen the evil work that is done under the sun. Better is the man that has lived and died than the baby that is in the womb about to be born. Because if that child is born, that child is going to have to live a life dealing with the oppressions that Solomon said, I have seen under the sun. Now my time has gotten away from me, but by the grace of God, I'll continue in this on the program tomorrow. I hope you'll hear the Bright Spot Hour at that time.
By Dr. Ben Carver. Correspondence may be sent to the Bright Spot Hour, Post Office